Welcome back to Arc Salt Lake. We cover authentic, relevant, and community stories. It is now 8:30 on this Tuesday, and it is Election Day. Make sure you get your ballot in the drop-off box before 8 o'clock tonight.
You can't mail it today. It has to be there. Okay, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert is with us to discuss the importance of these off-year elections, plus his thoughts on how the government shutdown is impacting Utahns. And just to start off, we learned of the death of Dick Cheney this morning, former vice president, long career in many different capacities. And you've had an opportunity, I guess, through the years to meet with him.
I have. Dick Cheney, I had great admiration for Dick. He was a kind of a no-nonsense guy. Let's get her done, roll up our sleeves. Not a lot of polish, a lot of rhetoric. He really was sincere in what he wanted to do. He really redefined what it is to be the vice president. He was a lot more active, a lot more action-oriented as a vice president to support George W. Bush. He certainly was an architect for the war on terror. So he really redefined the role of vice president, making it much more complementary to the president.
And nearby in Wyoming, so a connection there. Did you ever meet his family?
In passing, I didn't meet Liz. Met his wife before. They came to Utah a couple of times and spoke at different events for the Republican Party. Again, I've got some pictures. I have to go through my scrapbook and see where I find me with Dick Cheney and offer our condolences to the family today. He was not without controversy. Now, he was head of the group to try to find a running mate with George W. Bush. And at the end of the day, after they looked at a lot of different people, he was the one that bubbled to the top, surprising a lot of people. But he was a good American, did a lot of good things. He was not without controversy. Some liked him, some didn't like him. A lot didn't like him because he took on Trump, and he took on Trump with a vengeance. And didn't like the January 6th insurrection there that he thinks that the president didn't take an active role to stop. And of course, then his daughter Liz took him on in a committee hearing, and that really just cemented the dislike for the two families with each other.
Okay. All right, well, appreciate your comments on that. It is Election Day, and even though you might say it's kind of an off-year election, whatever, but it's a very important election because these are the people who I guess that probably impact your lives the most.
Well, I come from local government, and sad to say, sometimes we think that's a lesser office and not as important as our congressmen, our governors, even our legislators, certainly those that serve back in Washington, D.C. But they are the people that do impact us the most. I served 14 years as a Utah County Commissioner, so I'm a little biased. But that, the things that we provide locally are the things that we see government the most often with. And so it's important who your mayor, who your city council is, the issues of the day, whether we have property tax increases, road bonds, school district tax increases, rural health, is the one that's on down in rural parts of Utah, rural health tax. So there really are important issues, picking up your garbage, keeping your streets maintained, make sure there's a library that's open. All those things that the local government does are significantly important and impact our lives much more often than things from the state or particularly the federal government.
And it seems like when people do their homework and they look into the candidates at the local level, they accidentally get involved in local politics and may become more involved in the community.
Well, it's a good place to start. Everybody ought to be a voter first, last, and always. I made a commitment to myself when I was in the military that I would never miss voting. And I'm proud to tell you, at the age 78 years young, I have never, ever missed voting. And that includes my local elections, the school bond issues, the special elections we've had over the time. We the people are in charge. If we don't like what's going on, we can make a difference. We can make a change by going to the polls and voting for something or someone else.
Well, we the people are not making a difference right now with the government shutdown happening.
And this is a very important question because, we're 35 days now. And is this going to come back to haunt lawmakers like when the midterm elections come back? Are they going to remember they were just fighting you know, between themselves and not looking out for the best interests of the country?
Well, historically, voters do have short memories. We forgive and forget all too quickly. I know the challenge that we face with the government shutdown is it doesn't seem like either side really wants to resolve the problem. And, you know, it takes a little leadership to find a way to bring people together. And who's going to be punished? The polls show a little bit more to blame to the Republican Party. I think that's because they control the House and the Senate and the White House. They expect, well, how come you can't get this thing done? How come you can't get it open? And of course, the response is that, well, the Democrats vote not to open it up when they have a yes or no vote. And of course, the people suffer. The impact to the economy is in the billions of dollars. That we're losing the opportunity. Government programs are shut down. People are working on skeletal shifts. And of course, the SNAP program, which is, I think, the topic on everybody's mind, is about ready to run out of money.
Yeah. Well, and the Democrats say you're not listening, you're not negotiating, and we won't vote for your bill until you talk with us about it. And Republicans say, well, we'll negotiate after you vote for it and pass it. What would be your plan to open the government?
Well, I can tell you, they both talk about we really care about those who are impoverished. And Utah, by the way, has the lowest poverty rate in America. We're only about 9% compared to a national average of 12 to 13. So we talk about we really care about them, but then we don't do anything about it. We don't care enough to say, let's find a compromise on both sides of the aisle. And so it's like we're headed for the longest shutdown in American history. Another few days and we'll break that record. And, you know, we ought to be held accountable. It's just bad leadership on both sides of the aisle that seem to be more concerned about scoring political points, working towards their reelection efforts personally, and rather than solving the problem.
Well, if you were president, what would you do to reopen the government?
Well, I would bring in the leaders. It has to be done by Congress. But with the bully pulpit that the president has, he can probably influence significantly. Let's sit down and get at least let's fund SNAP. You know, we can do that. We can fund special things, and we have emergency money that now Trump's asking the courts to give him permission. Which is funny because he doesn't ask permission for a lot of things he does. So again, it's just political rhetoric. But bring in the leadership of the House and the Senate, both sides of the aisle, say, you know what, I want this open by Friday. I'm going to blame both of you. And so get it done, and we can find a compromise on, let's open it up. We'll talk about health subsidies later on, and we'll have a deadline on that. He could make it happen, I think, easier than anybody. He just isn't doing it.
And that's probably what's going to end up happening, right?
I think something along that line. Somebody, Speaker Johnson, you know, will just say, hey, the bills originated in our house on the money, so let's find a way to get this done and help the public get back on living a normal life. The impact of government shutdown is like a pebble in a pond. The ripple effect goes through and impacts everybody, local businesses, the economy, those who are impoverished that need help, jobs. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's time to stop it.
Big impact on federal workers here in Utah, too. So.
Okay, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert, thanks so much for being with us. We always love having you on the show, and we learn a lot.
Willing to talk about anything. Thanks so much.
Everybody get out and vote today. This is really an important election. Don't minimize it. Again, get to the drop box. Don't mail it. But everybody should vote. Let your voice be heard.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, we're all going to